okay, it's your body, it's your choice, now own it. And that's why, in my opinion, she messed up the second that she blamed men for us being under replacement rate in this nation, because all it takes is one simple question. How many babies have been aborted by women? Tomi Lahren, who's still somehow considered a conservative voice, she showed up on the Ingram Angle to talk about the so-called stay-at-home sons. But to me, this whole segment, it kind of felt like it was just designed to hand her a softball so she could just go off on men again. The whole thing was sparked by a joke from some Jeopardy contestant, and yet Fox turned it into a serious societal issue just so Tomi could blame young men for being lazy, antisocial, and, of course, the reason for declining birth rates and why women supposedly can't find husbands or start families, but she leaves out they don't want to start families.
Reaction, Tomi Lahren, Outkick host. Tomi, now, we called them on my old radio show, we did the whole thing on mamonis, right? The Italian word is for the mamonis, or they stay at home, and the moms like the son staying at home longer. But the phrase is becoming popular of these stay-at-home sons because an unemployed Jeopardy contestant says he was just trying to make people laugh. But is this an actual problem in our society?
It's a major problem. And, you know, Speaker Johnson has been talking about those maybe deadbeat folks that are on Medicaid, and maybe some of those folks are the stay-at-home sons. We don't know. But I'll tell you this, leave it to Gen Z to rebrand laziness and social awkwardness as something cutesy, like a stay-at-home son. They did much the same thing with quiet quitting, where you can go to work and do less. And if you call it quiet quitting, it's somehow better. But Laura, I got to tell you, this is also a big problem when it comes to, I think, declining birth rates, people not getting married and having children. You know, that's a big problem. They blame it on women. Well, look at what young women have to choose from. The pickings are slim. Yes, we might have a feminism problem in America, but it's the feminization of men. There are a lot of young women out there that want to get married. They want to have kids. They want to have stable families. But there are a lot of young men out there who want to live in mama's basement and order DoorDash. And therein lies a big part of the problem.
Well, and also with the rise of AI and AI dating, as they call it, which is sick, it's going to be even easier and perhaps more attractive for these types of individuals to remain behind closed doors. And what does that do to families and young women and dating?
I also blame the social conditioning of the COVID era, the dumbest era in modern American history, because a lot of people, especially these young people, they grew up like this, thinking that it was safer at home, thinking that outside was dangerous, interacting with people was scary. So now you got people that want to literally stay inside and play video games and have AI girlfriends, and that's why we have declining birth rates and a lot of other problems in society. It's time to go out, get a job, breathe the fresh air, meet people in real life. Let's just get back to basics.
When I first watched this, what I immediately thought was, for one, this is the same kind of accountability dodge we see when women run around claiming that men are the reason they're less feminine now. And they're just doing a bunch of mental gymnastics, right, to avoid acknowledging the one thing that actually changed everything, which is feminism. Feminism is why women are the way they are today. It completely eroded everything that once worked to usher in a progressive culture where women go to college more than men, they work a bunch of office jobs, they sleep around, initiate divorces constantly, go out drinking, dress scandalously, abort their children, curse like sailors, basically reject all conventional femininity and then run around and call that empowerment. That is what feminism is. And so all American women have feminist foundations, whether they admit it or not, whether they're aware of it or not even. And now we've got two women on screen here cosplaying as conservatives. I'm pretty sure Tomi, even a couple of years ago, expressed a pro-choice opinion on The View, and that's why she was let go from The Blaze. This is all alleged, of course, but I guess I could play that clip for you if I can find it even. But women of today, they are spending their most fertile years chasing degrees, climbing corporate ladders, and trying to get comfortable and stable in a job. And here's the real kind of like, I guess, kicker, you could say. Of the women who do get pregnant, a massive number of them are choosing abortion anyways. And since women have full legal control over that, and they have had that for decades, the outcome is on them, not men. If it's your body and your choice, and in today's world, that is objectively true. Like, men don't have a say. If you knock up a woman, you impregnate her and she wants to have an abortion, but you don't want her to, whose final say is it? And so then who is accountable for it? If it's women who it is their body and it is their choice, and some states after the overturn of Roe v. Wade. But if that is the case, you don't get to bail when it's time to own that. Okay, it's your body, it's your choice. Now own it, right? Own it. And that's why, in my opinion, she messed up the second that she blamed men for us being under replacement rate in this nation, because all it takes is one simple question. How many babies have been aborted by women? If you look at it, it looks like it's around, when I looked at it, it's about 63 million between 1973 and 2019. Again, based off of what I could find, and that's likely underreported. And if even a majority of those babies have been born, would we be in a population crisis at all? Probably not. And if you want to talk about the destruction of families, remind me again, which gender initiates 70 to 90% of divorces? Oh, yeah, women again. This isn't complicated. It's just uncomfortable for a lot of people. And I'll even acknowledge that raising a family on one income is harder than it used to be. Inflation is real. The cost of living is higher. That alone makes people delay having kids. But once two-income households became the norm, women who perhaps wanted to stay home, they couldn't, because the market adjusted. Prices went up, and now two incomes, it's not a luxury. That is the norm. That is a requirement. Two incomes per household. We used to be able to raise families on one income in this nation. And now if you want to do that, that takes some serious budgeting. Let's be honest, right? What modern woman wants to do that? What modern woman wants to be frugal? What modern woman wants to stay home and raise kids and sacrifice buying what she wants or building her career? She doesn't want to do that. She'd rather work. She'd rather make her own money so she can go out and buy the things she wants and maybe think about kids later. Maybe she'll pop out one or two. And this is the thing. Nature is not politically correct. I say it over and over again. It's not politically correct. It doesn't care that you're a woman who wants to work and delay kids and chase a paycheck. Nature does not negotiate. It gave you a small window to reproduce. Use it or lose it. And if women en masse choose boss babying over motherhood, well, our species is cooked. Game over. We PC'd and progressed our way right into extinction. Good game. That's it. GG's, right? Good game. It's over. It's over. Nature isn't politically correct. It doesn't care. It gave women are the ones who can get pregnant. They have a small window. And that's the truth. Doesn't care how politically correct you want to be. And so it's not one single issue, right? But if I had to point to the biggest factor in all of this, it's feminism, not men. For all those reasons I just mentioned. And you can't forget about birth control either, which is another major shift that was pushed in by feminist groups. That changed the entire game. Sex got decoupled from responsibility. Women got the green light to chase careers, party through their fertile years, and essentially treat motherhood like it's an optional side quest, And so she wants to talk about the feminization of men like it's some separate crisis. And then she barely touches feminism, and she says, yeah, well, we might have a feminism problem. Oh, we might. No, that's the root. That's the cause. Feminism is what psyoped an entire generation of boys into thinking masculinity is toxic, that being strong, dominant, or assertive is oppressive to women. And then also that expecting a woman to want to have children is a sexist opinion, is a sexist idea. You think a lot of these young men just ended up this way on accident? No. A lot of them were raised in single mother households where the father was removed or replaced and they had no father figure in their life, really. And if they did, it wasn't the majority, that's for sure. It was the minority of their life. And then, they go to school and they sit in classrooms that are dominated by women who went to a college that preaches liberal and progressive values. And, anytime they were in that class, right, it's just anytime they showed masculine traits, they were told it was wrong. And then they were also bombarded nonstop by feminist media telling them to shut up, sit down, be an ally to women. And they did. They bent the knee and they became soft and they became feminized. But here's what's really funny, okay? And this is where it kind of gets like, you got to read between the lines here. I think that Tomi Lahren, she would probably agree more with a male feminist who apologizes for his existence and pedestalizes women than a man like me who actually tells the truth. That's the irony. She'll complain about feminized men, but she would, in my opinion, right, this is all, because I have to say that, I think she would still prefer their obedience over the discomfort of a man who sees the problem for what it is and describes it. I think women like her, she wants obedient masculinity. And that's what it seems like a lot of these women want, obedient masculinity. The kind that obeys and sacrifices for women simply because they're women. Women like her, it's just like, seems like most of these women out here, their idea of a real man is someone who just happily accepts all the responsibility and accepts they have no authority. So, no, Tomi, you don't get to complain about the effects while clearly shielding the cause. You don't get to criticize feminized men while refusing to name what made them that way. The feminization of men is feminism's legacy. And the irony is, those men who stay in the box are exactly what women like her want. And this is where I start to really see through her bullshit. Because when she says feminized men, she's not only talking about, male feminists. She's not only talking about the guys wearing dresses on TikTok or the ones crying all over on podcasts. What she is also criticizing here are the men who don't want to step up, as women like her typically say. But let's start to peel this back. What does step up actually mean in her mind? Because when women like Tomi say step up, they usually mean make more money, marry boss babes with a smile on your face, pay for everything, protect everything, provide everything, and shut up about the fact that the entire system is rigged against you. It's essentially code for be a useful servant to society and to women. So women like her, they don't want masculine men with standards. They don't want men who draw the line in the sand and say, here's what's acceptable, here's what I'll tolerate, here's what I won't. They want men who just perform masculinity in a way that centers them. A man who acts like a man but never challenges the feminist script. A man, again, who accepts that he has responsibility and no authority. So when she says the problem is feminized men, to me it doesn't seem like she actually wants a solution. It seems that she wants compliance from men. She wants men to just man up, right? Just man up just enough to make her and other women's life easier, but never man up enough to actually reclaim any authority. That's the game. And in my opinion, she's a feminist, just like most American women. Just like most American women. I lost my background there. And yeah, I think that's the video anyways. So I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the next one. Leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you'd like to support the channel, the donation info is in the description. And I'm out.